Hey, Bassmaster Elite Series Pro, Destin DeMarion here to talk about something I do quite a bit, and that's drop shotting. Specifically, we're going to talk about selecting the right leader length for the situation. I think myself and a lot of people talk about, a general rule of thumb as far as leaders go. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth into what goes into me selecting how long my tag end and my leader below the hook is going to be. So right now, I've got one. It's probably about 15, 18 inches, about the standard that I usually like to use. So I've got just got a little wacky rig on this one, but I generally am going to use this little owner mosquito, this little mosquito hook for most applications. I also use the cover shot if I'm fishing like a more heavier cover grass around docks. Also, if I just want to keep the bait more weedless, even around rocks, sometimes I will use the cover shot, or I'll thread the bait on with cover shot to have less, less bait out and more hook exposed. So you got a much better chance of hooking the fish when it bites, because sometimes it will short strike you. So this is just a standard setup that I use. I generally will start with this if I'm fishing around, let's say, grass that's growing like just off the bottom, that sand grass like you might run into on like a Lake St. Clair, which I did experience last year. You want to keep your bait just above that. A lot of times, they won't come get it if it's down in the grass in a lot of situations. If it's just above, they'll come up to feed. Most of the time, fish like to come up, then go down to feed. Especially at the drop shot, it's something that's presenting your bait off the bottom just a little bit. And sometimes we get it a little bit closer, but most of the time we want that bait off the bottom. That's what's different about it, different than a Ned rig, different than a tube jig. We are wanting to get that bait up off the bottom, allow it to do its job and be really natural, just fluttering in the water, very finessey, unassuming, and easy prey for the fish, or so they think. So I will start out with this St. Clair. If that sand grass, a lot of times it grows maybe 18 inches, 2 feet, 3 feet. I will go up to a leader, as long as 3.5 feet in very, very niche kind of circumstances, like at St. Clair. If it was growing that far up, I might try that. I'd say most of the time in a fishery where I am drop shotting, that's got that sand grass or that really low growing grass, I'm gonna have it probably about between 2 to 3 feet. 2.5, I'd say, is the average for a situation like that. Also, if the fish are suspending, so even if it's not a place that's got that submerged grass, if you're fishing rock, if you're fishing nothing, sand, flats, whatever it may be, sometimes those fish are suspending and they don't want to go down for that bait, even when you're drop shotting. If it's just this much under that fish, it might not come back down to get it. So you want to keep, if you notice your fish are suspending just a little bit higher than you think your drop shot, your bait is, I will go, with that 2-3 foot, tag in if they are suspending a little bit off the bottom and not showing the propensity to go down and get it, which when they're really aggressive, they will follow down. But in most situations in a tournament or something like that, they can get a little funky with it. So you really want to make sure you're doing everything you can to give yourself as many opportunities as you can to catch that fish. So in those situations, I will, if they're suspended a little bit. The situations where I'm going to use a really small leader, if they are feeding close to the bottom, but they want something just hovering over the bottom, I will go with a little bit shorter leader. It depends on, a lot of times, what they're feeding on. Sometimes they're really heavily focused on the gobies, which sometimes, a Ned rig, a tube can be better in that situation, but after they've seen a lot of them, it's something else that's good to follow up with, a short leader drop shot, keeping it just off the bottom, right in their face. You can really catch some more fish that way. What else it would be good in is if you're trying to bed fish and keep it kind of close to where the eggs are on the bottom, you want to have a shorter leader a lot of times. Plus, it helps, it doesn't give them quite as much leverage when you got all this kind of extra tag end swinging when they come up to jump, say with a smallmouth. They can use that to throw it, a little bit easier than with a shorter leader. Also with a shorter leader, if you're pitching, you know, cover, you're fishing a lot of close to cover stuff, pitching docks, pitching around wood in certain situations, and river fishing, things like that, fishing in grass, sometimes I will shorten it up just a little bit if I'm pitching holes in grass or something like that. So that's pretty much the main things that I would do when I'm selecting the length of a tag end on a drop shot. So, you know, I hope this has kind of filled in some of those uncertainties that, you know, a lot of us may have when picking what length of drop shot leader, because I mean, it can run the gamut from, you know, a couple inches to 3.5 feet. So knowing when to use what length of leader can really put some more fish in the boat. So guys, I hope you found some good information in this video. Please like, subscribe if you liked what you saw. We're gonna have more content coming throughout the year and years to come. So tight lines out there, guys, and good luck.